All right. Absolutely. It is my honor to bring forward a resolution for National Women's History Month. And I say that as a daughter, a mother. Absolutely. It is my honor and an echoist for National Women's History Month. And I say that as a daughter, and I say, you know, when you hear your own voice, that's not how I sound. I don't know if that's how you hear. Okay. Anyway, it is my honor. And so I will bring forward this resolution. And so for National Women's History Month in March, as follows. Whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made significant and historic contributions to the growth and strength of our society in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas American women have been leaders, not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist, emancipation, labor, civil rights, and other movements, as well as the recent Me Too movement. And whereas the leadership of women in elected office, including the contributions of our own Board of Education trustees, serves as an example of community and civic engagement for girls and women in our community. And whereas Mountain View Los Altos High School District has encouraged pathways for girls to pursue science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, STEAM careers, and the underrepresentation of women in non-traditional careers. Therefore, be it resolved by the Mountain View Los Altos High School District and its Board of Trustees to honor the contributions that women have made throughout history and commit to support efforts to improve opportunities for girls and young women and older women. And be it further resolved by the Mountain View Los Altos High School District and its Board of Trustees that the month of March 2024 is designated as Women's History Month, and that all educational sites be encouraged to commemorate this time with appropriate, well-planned activities.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Meyer. Yes, please, Phil.
Yes, I would be remiss if I didn't comment at this point that there is a movement afoot to have an AP course in women's history. And if you just Google AP women's history, you'll see lots of entries on that.
Interesting.
So I don't know whether that's a step forward for the women's movement or not, but I think it's worth it doing.
Interesting development. Thank you.
Okay.
I move that we approve resolution 23/24-30, recognizing the important historic and ongoing contributions of women in our society.
Thank you.
I second that. I just want to thank all the women that have mentored me, including Dr. Meyer and my fellow board members. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the women in my life. And I'm not only a board member, but I also worked 20 years in tech. So, and actually it was a woman who got me my first management position. So.
Okay, so we have a motion by Catherine, second by Dita. And so first let me go to the student board members. Christoph, Ruth, Sadie. Okay, wonderful. And all board members, how do you vote?
Aye.
Resolution passes 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, on to board member reports. Does anybody have anything they'd like to talk about? Board member?
Yes, just very briefly, Christine Bardman and Margaret Gong, co-executive directors of MVLA Foundation, asked to meet with Esme and me as the newest trustees, which was very nice of them. And I want to thank the MVLA Foundation for all that they do, and in particular, those individuals. MVLA provides funding for key programs, including smaller class sizes and the career and counseling centers. Other board members and I call at the phone-a-thon every year, and Dr. Meyer as well.
And the staff.
Yes,
staff
and
and
staff.
teachers.
Yes.
Yeah, very grateful for that. Thank you for bringing that up. Very grateful it's a great partner organization to our district, so. So I'd like to have one report I mentioned. So last time I mentioned that the Mountain View Rotary Club is, annually we have scholarships for our high school students, and we include them for 4 high schools, St. Francis, Mountain View High School, Los Altos High School, and Alta Vista. And this year I'm very, very proud to that our Mountain View Rotary Board approved to give a 5th scholarship to the adult school. And I want to thank Julie for basically having the discussions that we had in terms of the process for that. So I'm very, very happy with that. So I'm proud of the Rotary Club to be able to do that. So,
Good news.
great, thank you. All right, so next is the student board member reports. So I think I'm going to go with Sadie this time.
Yeah. Good enough.
Last Tuesday afternoon, ASB students led campus tours for the parents of incoming freshmen from non-feeder schools. The inclusion of students to this process is fairly recent, and after positive feedback from both parents and teachers, leadership students will also be leading tours this Thursday afternoon. Our student community leaders class is currently running their annual Relay for Life fundraisers to raise money for the American Cancer Society. To reach their goal of $15,000, they have set up second period class teams on their online fundraisers where students can compete with other classes to raise the most money. The fundraiser will culminate with a relay on the track and field Friday, March 15th, and anyone can donate using the link in the school website and on the SEL Instagram page. Looking forward, ASB is planning our annual Clash of the Classes Spirit, which will kick off the week of the 18th. In addition to lunch activities and breakfast, students are invited to a night rally on Friday the 26th to win points for their class and participate in a variety of games and activities. Finally, on the week of the 25th, that would be Friday the 22nd. But on the week of the 25th, juniors and seniors will be taking the CAP test. The standardized test will be completed in the mornings, and all students will have a modified block schedule in the afternoon.
All right, thank you, Sadie. Any questions for Sadie? Okay, Christoph?
Just last Friday, FU just hosted our annual MVLA poetry competition with tremendous success thanks to the efforts of qualifying Islam art and Christian poets. Their passion for spoken words set the stage for what we hope will be a cherished annual event, showcasing the artistic brilliance of our school community. On Valentine's Day, MVHS was alive with song, with MVHS choir delivering St. Valentine's Day for classes throughout the day. Last Friday, we were honored to host Mr. Connie Principal, Palo Alto High School, and his advisory council at our Spartan School Advisory Board meeting. Our student leaders engaged in meaningful discussion about academic pressure, mental health support, and other pertinent topics. Also last week, ASB hosted Battle of the Classes, which is always a huge hit in the student body. Throughout the week, lunchtime activities were hosted by ASB, such as kickball, soccer, and football. We finished off the week with a night rally on Friday, with hundreds of students in attendance competing for the title of UTC Champions 2024. Looking forward, MVHS is excited to finish off the year strong and make it as memorable as possible for our participants.
All right, thank you very much, Christoph. So any questions for Christoph? Okay, great, thank you very much. Okay, on to student board member reports. So here, I think we're going to invite Julie.
Julie.
So we'll invite Julie for this. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Julie, please.
You know them.
It is my honor to introduce MVLA Adult School Student of the Month and Student of the Year, Anna Wong, that is working up here. Anna's journey began in a small fishing village on the island of Tonga. Her father, a fisherman, and her mother, a housewife, did not finish school, but they instilled in their 6 children the importance of education. She remembers her parents telling her, "You have to be better. You have to find opportunity." It was this foundation that led Anna to pursue her education in digital imaging technology in Fiji, where she attended university. While going to school, Anna would work summers in Australia to help pay for her classes. After finishing school, she began work, but she found limited opportunities available to her. In 2019, she left her family to go on vacation to the United States. But while here, she made the difficult decision to seek asylum and pursue the possibility of a better life. Now on her own in this new country, Anna began working at a care facility in Fremont, but she knew she wanted more. In 2022, while searching online, she found MVLA Adult School's website and thought, this looks like a place where she could feel comfortable. Although Anna had a degree from Fiji, she needed to get a foothold in the American educational system so she could improve her skills and pursue her goal of becoming a nurse. Anna enrolled in the morning GED class at MVLA Adult School in October of that year with the goal of earning her high school equivalency certificate and continuing her education in college. After passing her official GED science and mathematical reasoning exams, she enrolled in the certificated nursing assistant program at MVLA Adult School so she could begin her career path in the medical field. As a result of her graduating from our CNA program, Anna was able to find positions at a rehabilitation facility and a senior care home in the Mountain View area. She also returned to the GED classroom to complete her high school equivalency while working at these two jobs. Anna passed her final GED exam on December 19th of 2023 and earned her high school equivalency certificate. Now Anna is looking to complete her prerequisites at Mission College so she can apply to the nursing program with the eventual goal of becoming a registered nurse. Although Anna has encountered many challenges, and although it has been difficult leaving all of her family, she is determined to follow her dreams. She also wants to be an example for other young people with similar stories who are trying to find better opportunities and a better life. Please congratulate Anna.
So Anna, usually this time the board would like to may ask you some questions. Is that okay? To ask some questions?
That's okay.
Okay. So let me go to the board. Phil, go ahead.
I just want to say, Anna, that I am so impressed by your story. It is the classic American immigrant dream story, starting with your parents, and you have fulfilled their directive. I think you're going to make a great art, and I hope if I go to the hospital, I run into you.
Dita?
I agree 100% with what Phil said, so I won't repeat it. But what I wanted to ask you is, what attracted you to our adult school? And what would you say to others who are in our adult school? Because clearly you're an inspiration to other people.
When I moved here, I really wanted to go back to school. But I didn't know how to go back to school here because the school system is so different from where I came from. We don't have GED, high school diploma. I searched on the internet and I asked friends and they told me there was yeah, and I found out MVLA on the internet, so I decided to enroll. And yeah, and I told my coworkers that I go back to school. And I like it there. I hope if they have registered nurse program, so
But I guess, what about the website? Because you were looking on the internet, right? And I assume other adult schools came up. But what made you choose our adult school versus the other schools you saw in your search?
yeah, I saw a lot of South School, Fremont, but I Remember, I saw a lot of stars.
That's good to hear. Oh, thank you. That, yes, I think Julie Vo is definitely has a lot of stars by her.
I think you've just given us a slogan.
Yeah.
Lots of stars. Some of the stars.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Catherine.
I want to know how how you adjusted to life, just plain living in the United States, and also if you already knew some English before you came, or how did you adjust in that way?
It's not easy for me to. And I studied English, where I came from, everything is and I study abroad. That's the only way I get from. And when I moved here, I have to seek help from families and I have a lot of family, but I don't really like to rely. I know how help can be. But yeah, I seek help with friends and family. Tell me how to make myself.
Well, congratulations. You're making it here.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Just wanted to congratulate you and just reiterate how inspiring your story is. And I'm curious, what's been your favorite aspect or favorite thing about being a student at MVLA Adult School? What's like your favorite thing?
Well, I like to go to school and I like my teachers, how they take a lot of activities and exercise. Even at work, but they gave the class of exercise and don't make sure I do my homework. Sometimes I miss class, but I have to go.
Well, it's great to hear that the teachers are. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations. And I think we would like to take a picture.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if you have anybody here that you can join us as well. They can join us while we take the picture. Thank you very much. Okay. Next, the superintendent report.
Yes, first of all, just a very hard act to follow. What a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Julie. to share a few things that have been going on since our last board meeting. You can see here the nightlife, and our schools and our administrators are out each and every night, and we're out also even during the winter break, attending playoff games and participating in events. And our students also were kept very busy during that February time. Wanted to share, here are some pictures where you can see academic excellence, equity, and engagement. On the right, during our break, we had students from our green team who were planting trees around the area. In the middle, you can see a math teacher who I think also doubles as our water polo coach, very successful in both places. And on the left, you can see an activity at Mountain View High where our science teacher is leading a group of students in a lab. In the vein of professional development, I wanted to share something that you may have heard a little bit about, or maybe heard a lot of it about. We have been engaging in a professional development program called Constructing Meaning. And this has been an accelerated approach where they focus on the academic language necessary to achieve the high-level content standards. So it helps teachers learn pedagogy and ways to break down complex concepts and to communicate them in a way so all students can understand them more deeply. It also provides content for specific language skills so they can think, discuss, read, and write using technical terms. And technical writing is really a skill that we hope all of our students leave our district with. And then lastly, we have an ongoing 3-year plan that includes cohort teams, examining student work, and they're planning together how to refine their practices. Below in the pictures, you can see at Los Altos High, this was a cohort that we saw first semester. So when our students are home on the professional development days, you can see the teachers are there studying how to become even stronger. And then on the right, you can see an activity where the teachers were engaged in a technique where they would get together with a partner and move around a little bit and really make sure that students are doing the talking within the classroom. So we are having another cohort that starts tomorrow morning at Alta Vista in the multi-use room. It will be there Tuesday and Wednesday all day. So if anyone's interested in stopping in, they will be there in those next 2 days. So thank you, Terry Fott, and for IST and for the others in your work on that, constructing meaning. Wanted to also share that this is recruiting season for some of our organizations. Our Family Partnership Council is now recruiting new members. This is something that has been in the last newsletter. We sent it out in email to staff and to the community, and we will send it out again. And the applications are being accepted until the Ides of March, March 15th. And so we look forward to welcoming new members to our Family Partnership Council. And the Family Partnership Council includes board members, it includes staff members, parents, community members interested in working together to make MVLA even stronger. And in other district-wide news, I wanted to share, I believe, I know this definitely happened at Alta Vista, but in all of our campuses, we have been engaging in district-wide Narcan training. So last year we trained all of our staff, and this year we are now providing this information for all of our students. So we're continuing to share the training, and the county has provided us with Narcan. So every student who participates is able to leave the training with the Narcan, which can really save lives. And so you can keep it in your glove compartment, keep it in your home, but it is something that is very valuable, and we will continue to do this. Wanted to also share that we are working with our career technical education coordinator, Amber Woodward, and our teachers of CTE. And this is an example of one of the things that we are doing within our career technical education classrooms. This is, and let me get her name right, Kunjan Shah, and she is an architect, and she is speaking to our students within the CTE architecture class, Jared Darby's architecture class, and speaking about, what her pathway was towards becoming an architect and some of the things that answering their questions about architecture as a career. And so, it's interesting, this is kind of the old school career day idea and concept, and it really works. And so we're continuing to bring in professionals into the classroom to make sure that our students have exposure and access to the information. Wanted to also share, and I saw this in Julie's wonderful report, but I found it very interesting. Here you can see a picture of the adult education students, and they're continuing the partnership I spoke of last time at the board report with ESL and health. And just an information point that pretend you're hearing for the first time when Julie says it, but 13% increase in enrollment in ESL, 14% increase in CTE, and 45% increase in fee-based classes. And so, people are really speaking with their feet, and the enrollment is growing, and we're very proud of our adult education program. So that was great data points to look at. And speaking of other things that we're proud of, wanted to share our IT team. They have been holding different meetings, and in this case what they had was in this very boardroom something that they called lunch and learn. And so they invited 12 different neighboring districts to come into learn together about a presentation program called Vivi. And you can see here IT team here on the left, and Miguel, I see you are up there. And then the 12 different districts came and collaborated and worked together. And this presentation program that they use is one that we use both to show the signage on our student services buildings, but also it does the presentation within every classroom within our district in a wireless capacity. Wanted to also share things that are going on at Alta Vista High. I have to make sure I get the name right. Okay, this is Brutus, and this is Ms. Mikhaliek's support dog. And Brutus visited Alta Vista. You can see here on the left, I think Brutus is a very appropriate name. And then here in the middle, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but our Alta Vista students have been participating in intramural sports with other continuation schools around our county and neighboring counties. And here they are in the middle in the finals, and this was last Friday, playing Milpitas. And so we have heard from parents that have reported certainly that that this tournament has really kept them engaged in school and helped their student who did, upon leaving the comprehensive high school, have to give up some athletic programs, gave them the opportunity to continue being physically fit and competitive. And then on the right, you can see our students, looks like an early grad. So we have some January grads as they start to finish and complete their courses at Alta Vista. And what I like about this picture, I looked at it and I thought you can kind of see that it's cool to be successful. And so the support of their peers and the pride on the faces of the students in this picture is just really nice to see. Also wanted to let you know that Saturday we will have an event where students will be going from Alta Vista, will be going to Foothill College and signing up for courses. They will be looking at financial aid and getting information about financial aid. And it's a way that Foothill College has really reached out to our campus to build that partnership and to hopefully make the process simpler. And we'll have more to come on what we're doing with our comprehensive schools in a similar fashion. Okay, sharing some of the things going on at Los Altos High. We shared some of the photos on February 12th, but you can see here the Lunar New Year. And so some of the wonderful things. And if you look on the far right, I had to look twice at that picture, but you can see the high jump on the right. Certainly the beautiful costumes and the elegant artwork and traditions that go along with Lunar New Year. What I love about our campuses is that they really value and respect and highlight the cultures of our students. And it's a wonderful thing to see the pride that our students have in their diverse cultures. And then also at Los Altos High, another high kicker, but this one is with Mary Poppins. And so our musical over at Los Altos High, they did a wonderful job. I think you saw some of the practices, but in final costume, it's really something to behold. The Mary Poppins costume is just right on the money. And then some great things happening at Mountain View High School as well. Here on the left, the top and the bottom, you can see they're getting ready for High School Musical, which is a wonderful musical that is a Disney produced musical. And then, so a lot of activities, some of them are improv activities and getting everyone loosened up for the drama presentation with the basketballs, etc. And also for different dance routines. And then in the middle, over the break, as mentioned, both campuses were planting trees around our community and helping make our air cleaner to breathe. So thank you to our green teams. And then on the right, at the top, you can see Mountain View's paws, and it used to be all dogs, and now we're expanding into bunnies. Probably the spring has something to do with it. And you can see these, I don't know, I don't want to say for sure they're ninth graders, but I would say possibly just the excitement they have around the animals. And it's something about the animals that just really bring out the best in all of us. And then the bottom as well, a celebration of Lunar New Year with artisan gifts, posters, etc., and clubs sharing what they've created or what they're selling for fundraisers. And then also at Mountain View, I wanted to point out our Folklorico took a trip to, now I should know this area better than I do, Scotts Valley. Okay, I don't get out much. I'm usually here. Scotts Valley, they went to Scotts Valley High School to kind of expand where they perform, and just the beautiful costumes. You can see they're in movement here. And so Mountain View really became ambassadors with the students of Scotts Valley. So wonderful to see, and a lot of work happening in our off hours for sure. And then just a highlight for the community and for the board. We are continuing to recruit for the Freestyle Academy. There is a link. It is both on our website, and you can find it in different social media posts. And it's open seats for creatives. And for 24-25, so sophomores and juniors can apply if you know a creative sophomore or junior. And I would say all sophomores and juniors are creative. Please let them know about this possibility for them. And then lastly, this moved around a couple of dates, so I wanted to make sure to announce that on March 27th at Los Altos High School, we will have the speaker series, Mountain View High School, Spartan Theater, why college admission is rigged and how to beat the system. We will have Professor Susan Paterno, and she will also be presenting with her daughter. And so they will share their experience as a mother-daughter and how the college process went. And they certainly have me intrigued with that tagline, so we shall see. And so I do encourage everyone to go. This sounds like it'll be a wonderful presentation, as the speaker series always are. And then lastly, just a wonderful picture of our students just shining. And thank you. That concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Dr. Meyer?
Could you just repeat the dates of the constructive meeting?
Tomorrow, the March 5th and March 6th.
Thank you.
The only comment I want to have is on the CTE career training. It absolutely does work. My daughter, who was here at Mountain View High School, she was a junior in 2017. And we invited a technical director from Pixar, and where she worked on some of the movies there, and talked about her job there, her job experience. And from then on, my daughter said, that's what I want to do. And she ended up, going to college, and she's still focused. That's what she wanted, and that's what she worked at DreamWorks today, doing exactly what that lady who presented. She basically has the exact same job. So
She saw herself.
She saw herself. So
Right.
the fact that we have these career individuals come to our school and show students what it's like, it absolutely does work. So it's inspiring for many kids.
That's great to
So
hear.
yeah, no, thank you for continuing to have that at our school. All right, so next, communications from district organizations. Do we have any communication? All right, so next is public comment on items not on the agenda. So these are items not on the agenda, so we can, just a reminder that since it's not on the agenda, we cannot comment on the public comment other than asking you to clarify a question. So with that said, I have one request, Jane Chen. Dr. Jane Chen, yes, please.
Hi again. My name is Jane Chen. I'm a mother of three. My two younger ones are at Mountain View High School. And I'm a member of the Family Partnership Council. I'm also a pediatrician. All right. And so some of this data we presented before. So just to review, decades of research has shown that educating students with disabilities is better for both students with and without disabilities. To help improve inclusion rates, there is a state goal. In California, it was set at 60% last year. California is near the bottom of the country. The national average of inclusion in the regular classroom is 67%. MVLA is far behind, but has improved from the 36% in 2021. Last year, the average inclusion rate in California was 58%, and at MVLA, it was only 51%. Of the 447 students in special education at MVLA, only 51% spent the day in regular classroom, despite the evidence that students both with and without disabilities learn more when everyone is included. The CDE has a new data system available to the public called DataQuest, just available, which has data now disaggregated by ethnicity. So 190 of these students in special education are Latino, of Latino background, but only 31%, to clarify, 31% of these Latino students are in regular classrooms for most of the day. In comparison to the 72% of special education white students who have the privilege of being in the regular classroom for most of the day. 1 out of 6 of all students at MVLA of Latino background are in special education. So I'll repeat that. 1 in 6 students of Latino background are in special education. This is a disproportionality problem. On top of this, the Latino students in special education are not included in the regular classroom, in direct contrast to the white students, where the vast majority are. In 2018-19, MVLA was identified as disproportionate for the number of Latinos in special education. It has continued to be disproportionate for every year since then. The public needs CCEIS updates. Normally, there should be quarterly updates available of our progress towards solving this problem. So my request is to please have CCEIS updates and more data towards how we're solving our poor inclusion rates and then the disproportionate number of Latinos in special education. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next two consolidated motion. So can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the consolidated motion with removing 16.2, the personnel report. And approving all the rest.
Second the motion.
Okay, so it's been moved by Catherine, seconded by Phil, that we approve all consolidated motions except for 16.2, and we will pull that. So, student board members.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Sadie. All right. Board members.
Aye.
All right. Okay, approved 5-0. Thank you very much.
I think we should mention that 16.2 will be deferred.
Yep.
Maybe perhaps you can carry on that subject.
Yep, exactly what I was going to say. So for the personnel report, so we are going to, we're pulling that, but we're going to defer that to, we're going to meet again in closed session after this meeting. And so after conferring with that, we'll come back here and then again, report out on the personnel report at that time. Okay. All right, moving on to business business action item. So 18.1, the adult school annual report. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone, and it is our honor and pleasure to present our annual report. This is always a treat for us to be able to have your time to share about all the wonderful things that are happening at the adult school. With me tonight are members of the adult school leadership team and my co-presenters, and I would like to introduce you to them in case you haven't met them before. This is our assistant director, Jonathan Fu. Our English as a second language coordinator, Sarah Krajewski. Our adult secondary education coordinator, so she handles high school diploma and GED, Danielle Din. Our new career technical education coordinator, Francisco Preciado. And finally, our transition advisor, Ms. Gina Riccitelli. Hopefully, our board and the audience at home has had the opportunity to review the comprehensive annual board report that we prepared for you. This publication is a comprehensive look at the data and metrics that we use to assess the effectiveness of the strategies that we've implemented through our school-wide action plan for our WASC accreditation. Before we begin presenting, I would just ask if you could refrain from asking your questions until the very end so that we can keep with the flow with all of our presenters here. Okay, so we're going to go over our mission and vision as a school and our school-wide learner outcomes. So just as a refresher, we feel it's important to provide you with some context for our plan. We also think it's good to routinely revisit our mission and vision to ensure that it's aligned with our school action plan goals. We also are aligned to the district's guiding principles of excellence, equity, and engagement. Okay, here is MVLA's framework for student success. You're very familiar with this. All of these plans, including our school-wide, our regional plans, our WASC accreditation plans, the ultimate goal is to achieve student success. Underpinning all of these plans is a very strong foundation in equity. Equity meaning equitable access to education, as well as achieving equitable outcomes for all students. As a reminder, because this year covers 22-23 and 23-24, 22-23 last year was the 6th year of our WASC accreditation cycle. During that time, you're going to hear a report on our progress towards the school-wide action plan goals from the last 6-year cycle, which are number 1, to improve the systematic integration of instructional technology in all classrooms. Secondly, to increase school-wide professional development opportunities, specifically working with student learning outcomes, how to assess that and how to use that to monitor and adjust teaching strategies to further address critical learner needs. And then third, expanding tutoring opportunities for students in all of our core programs, ESL, career technical education, GED, and high school diploma. Now, Jonathan will review our school-wide accomplishments in relation to these three WASC goals.
So at the end of MVLA Adult School's 6-year accreditation cycle, we made many accomplishments in the three WASC goals, which Julie previously mentioned. So in the area of technology integration, all academic programs successfully integrated instructional technology through upgraded projection and audio systems, Google Classroom, e-testing, e-textbooks, online resources, tools, and assessments. In the area of professional development, MVLA Adult School expanded school-wide and program staff in-services training. There was a strong focus on student learning outcomes analysis to identify critical learner needs. These needs were addressed as evidenced in school-wide student performance data. And in regards to tutoring, MVLA Adult School expanded its tutoring center by extending tutoring hours in the morning, afternoon, and evening, as well as expanded tutoring to all academic programs, which includes CTE, ASE, which is adult secondary education, and ESL, English as a second language. So in the next two slides, I'll be presenting notable data and accomplishments from the 22-23 school year. The first slide shows enrollment trends from the 2021 school year to the 22-23 school year. So this was sort of the data that we talked about previously with Nellie's slide. So overall duplicated enrollment for 22-23 was 5,629. As you can see in the chart, there was an overall increase in enrollment of nearly 13% in ESL from the previous school year, as well as a 14% increase in the CTE program. There was a slight decrease in adult basic education, GED, and high school diploma enrollments. Non-academic fee-based programs increased enrollment by 45%. So in 22-23, CNA students taking the nationally certified nursing assistant written skills examination achieved a 91 to 96 pass rate. CNA students scored 7% higher than the national average on both skills and written examinations. The medical assistant pass rates remained high in nationally certified examinations, far exceeding the national average by 32%. Finally, MVLA Adult School was awarded the maximum 6-year accreditation in its previous 22-23 WASC School self-study. So next, I'll be handing it off back to Julie, who will be presenting information about our current WASC accreditation cycle.
Thanks, Jonathan. And we're so proud of these accomplishments. Now we're going to shift gears just a little bit. So before our leadership team presents an update on their current priorities and progress, the current school year, 23-24, actually marks the first year in the next 6 years of our accreditation cycle. And the purpose of accreditation, again, is to serve as an ongoing cycle of self-study, reflection in order to make improvements to school programs and to adjust our teaching strategies. It involves a deep look into our school and program-wide data, and it's used to monitor student learning. Jonathan?
So based on feedback from our 22-23 WASC School self-study, MVLA Adult School developed 3 new WASC goals for its next 6-year accreditation cycle. The first goal focuses on assessment. So we chose this goal because we recognize that assessment results are the most important gauge of student learning. Analyzing results will guide instruction, school planning, professional development, and resource allocation. The second goal focuses on alignment. Aligning course learning objectives to the most current competencies and academic and industry standards will ensure that the students meet their personal, academic, and career goals. The alignment of competencies is reflected differently across our academic programs. So for example, our ESL course outlines will continue to be updated to reflect the current adult education English language proficiency standards, and CTE course outlines will be updated to ensure alignment with CTE model standards and college articulation. The last WASC goal focuses on support, in which we'll increase student awareness, and access to support services. So this was actually identified as one of our school's strengths from our 22-23 full self-study visit, but we wanted to continue focusing on support services to further remove barriers to student learning. So that is all for our WASC goals for 23-29. So next we'll be presenting information from our school's academic programs. Our coordinators will be presenting information about previous year's highlights, as well as progress on our current WASC goals. So first, Sarah Krajewski will be presenting information about our English as a Second Language program.
I'm a little taller. Okay. Hello, everybody. Sandy Cutshaw, my co-coordinator, is currently teaching citizenship. So she says hello, but is working to help students meet their goals right this minute. So here are some pictures of current activities. As you can see in the upper left, we are now using a new online reading test for both placement and progress tests in the ESL program. This allows us much faster access to results, as well as improved data about student performance. Down here in the lower corner, our citizenship classes, which meet online on Mondays and in person on Thursday afternoons, are helping many students pass their tests. Actually, 37 students have gotten citizenship from 2022 till like last week. We're still counting. The INS is currently moving very quickly to help students complete the process. So we are now encouraging students to register for the class even before they send in their citizenship applications. The pandemic is over and the INS is moving. We continue to have ESL classes visit the career tech classes, which gives ESL students English practice, and CTE students a nice group of willing patients for practice. And in the bottom right, you can see our always popular fall EL Civics Life Skills unit that was about getting a job, which helps students practice job interview skills, as well as helping more advanced students learn to create resumes and cover letters. So here, Nellie, lest we not say this often, last year we had a 13% increase in enrollment in our ESL program. We are continuing to see a notable increase in the number of recently arrived beginning level students, in particular from Latin America, particularly Colombia and El Salvador, Turkey, a lot of young men from Turkey, and Ukraine. Currently, we are working to ensure that the rollout of the previously mentioned new reading test series is smooth, as well as working to provide teachers with more training to better understand the English language proficiency standards. And I would like to know more about the content vocabulary you're working on at the high school district. That might be helpful to us as well. We are also continuing to have our transition advisor and tech advocates regularly visit classes to publicize the assistance that is available to all enrolled students. At this time, I'm going to pass this on to my colleague Danielle, who will talk about the ASE program.
So here are some pictures from our department from the previous school year. The top left picture is from our combined graduation with the CTE department. The ceremony highlights how students often transition among our core programs, ESL, high school diploma, GD, and CTE. The picture in the top right is of one of our GD students, Jagdish, being tutored in science. We have been able to find more tutors to expand tutoring to all GD subjects this year, both in the morning and evening classes. In the bottom right corner, we have Ying, a GD student, being honored by the Los Altos Kiwanis at their luncheon. Ying is currently putting her scholarship to use by studying nursing at Mission College. Some of the highlights from last year was that we served 26% more senior high school students than the previous year. 2 of our GED students were awarded $1,500 scholarships from the Los Altos Kiwanis Club to continue their education at Foothill and Mission College. And 73% of students who started an online summer school course ended up completing their course with us, allowing them to advance their studies at their home high school. In terms of assessment, alignment, and support, our department is making sure that we make time for assessment analysis. by allocating time at our monthly staff meetings for teachers to share the data that they collected, to analyze the data, and to plan for adjustments to our curriculum. We are currently updating our course information sheets for both the GED and high school diploma program to ensure alignment with state standards and maintain our district standards for excellence for A-to-G requirements. Finally, to improve the quality of our tutoring services, we started conducting surveys to students and tutors to solicit feedback. This is our initiative to incorporate more student voices in our department. And Francisco will talk about the CTE program.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Francisco J. Preciado. Today, I'm pleased to share the important updates regarding our school commitment to academic excellence and improvement, particularly within our career technical education programs. On the image on your top left is our 2023 spring to summer medical assistant cohort. We had 16 students to complete the program, with 15 of those students passing their national medical assistant certification. We're still looking for that other student. We'll make sure that student also completes. On the bottom left, image showcase our summer 2023 cohort for certified nursing assistant. The students completed their clinical training at Webster House Assisted Living, accumulating 100 hours of hands-on training. We established a partnership with Webster House, providing multiple benefits such as a $5,000 sign-in bonus, a $25.50 hourly rate, and tuition reimbursement for those that apply. On the top right, you'll see an image of iCare Tech students. We actually partnered with Alta Vista Continuation High School and Los Altos High School to bring an additional 8 students, 7 from Alta Vista and 1 from Los Altos, for our spring eye care technician class, which actually starts tomorrow. In the bottom right photo, Nurse Lori and myself, and we joined 2 certified nursing students at Mark Berman's Family Health and Wellness Fair, hosted by the Assembly member, Mark Berman. This event allowed our students to practice taking vital signs on attendees, engage with the public, and promote our student classes. This hands-on experience provided valuable real-world practice, fostering confidence and readiness for their future careers in healthcare. Next slide. Some of our highlights for 2022 to 2023. The medical record specialist program students achieved a 94% passing rate on the National Medical Assistant exam in fall 2022, showcasing the high quality of education and rigorous training in this field. The Certified Nursing Assistant program boosted an overall pass rate of 96% in skills and 91% in written exams, indicating strong retention and completion rates. In winter 2022 session saw the successful completion of our first integrated education training class at MVLA Adult School, focusing on advanced ESO, writing, and word processing. Here are current priorities. The Information Technology Department is launching a new web development pathway to keep our students ahead of dynamic technology landscape. We are aligning our outcomes across web design, Amazon Web Services, and Python programming to, we're aligning across web design, Amazon Web Services, and Python programming classes to ensure its success. Our IT staff will be dedicated and will dedicate time to collaborate on these alignments, ensuring a valuable education experience for our students. The Certified Nursing Assistant program underwent a review and revision of its curriculum to ensure alignment with the standards set by the Prudential and the California Department of Public Health for the January 2024 curriculum renewal. Additionally, we're enhancing academic support and career services, tutoring, resume workshops, externship guidance, placement, and job support. These services are vital for our students' academic and professional success. Now I would like to hand it over to our next presenter, Gina Rizzatelli.
For the transitions activities, I would like to focus on 4 areas: connecting students to employment, collaborating with colleges, work on our new WASP goal number 3 and tutoring services. Last year, we expanded our employer connection beyond our annual job fair to include day and evening tabling opportunities, as well as working more collaboratively with Nova Works, career services agency, to provide more options to students for their career search. Of course, students still work with me one-on-one for resume development and career exploration, but I'd like to offer additional services and partnerships that are available to students. One in particular that was new to us at the job fair was the Renaissance Center. And what they do is entrepreneurial support. They help people to start businesses, and that's especially important for those who do not have right to work documentation. So another option is for them to start their own business. We're also engaging with alumni. So I reach out to alumni. I'm meeting with recent graduates to reestablish job search. A lot of times they finish their training and they take a break. They need to take care of some other needs. And then how do they get re-engaged? Maybe they get to take an opportunity. In the case of our medical record specialist students, they can come back and take a 100-hour externship, because that is not mandated by the program. That's an opportunity if they want to choose that. And so many of them do to choose that. In fact, we do have 2 medical record specialists, we call them MRS students, hired as registration schedulers at PAMP Sutter, paying $27 an hour plus full benefits. One student is very shy. She had many years in manufacturing, very, very dependable, just a rock star, but very meek and mild-mannered. This is a huge transition and opportunity for her. So we're really excited about the encouragement we were able to give her for some interview practice, just some handling some of her concerns about how to say this or how to answer that. And so she's golden, so awesome. I also work closely with Foothill and De Anza to prepare our students. We hold college information and application workshops throughout the year. For the second year, we're working with a dual enrollment, with De Anza on a dual enrollment class, Intro to College, their Counseling 5 class. This is going to be just for adult students. And we're doing this in collaboration also with Sunnyvale Adult School in Palo Alto. So it's great to have that focus on the adult school students. It's a 3-week class, but it jumpstarts them into their college career. Also, for the first time in many years, MVLA will be taking a field trip to De Anza College. Many years, at least a few years, more than I've been around. And so I think this is very exciting. We'll be going to De Anza College, and then we'll still wrap up with a visit to Foothill College, Sunnyvale campus. We visited Foothill last year. We've made a concerted effort to make an invitation, not just to our advanced DSL and our GED, our traditional, but we've made a very concerted effort to also go to our CTE students who might be interested as well. Usually they're focused, they've already chosen their career, but indeed, we do have some students that would like to learn about the nursing program. For example, CNAs will be joining us. And then we also have some students from the new medical records classes coming with us. So we're pretty excited about the breadth of all the student body that's going to be coming. Another representation of our collaborative work with the college is Sunny Palooza. Foothill College hosted a community resource fair, and they featured their CTE programs in our local adult school, or schools, I should say. So in the spirit of our new WASP goal number 3, increasing student awareness and access to support services, I published a transitions department newsletter. Also, teachers welcome me into their classrooms to share important opportunities, events, and resources. And they also direct students to my QR code, which is posted in most of the classrooms. And so students can set their own Calendly appointments with me. And so it'll just pop on my calendar. It's really wonderful. Our next slide is on the tutoring support provided. You've heard a lot about that. Each program has its own system for serving students. So that's why the numbers may seem different. ESL will have the same small cohort of students working together throughout the semester. They've been identified by the teacher. So they will have multiple sessions or the hours. for GED. Students may just attend a few sessions or sometimes many sessions. It really is, depends on each student. And then you heard, besides math, we're also offering all subject areas, tutoring for all subject areas. And then, in fact, to highlight, well, from last year, we had a GED student. She had suffered by not passing the GED for 14 years, having made multiple re-attempts. And you know what, through the dedication of her tutor, who has now since retired, she passed her math and she is onward. She's gonna go, she wants to become a medical assistant. She'd rather go to San Francisco. So she lives in San Francisco. So otherwise she would be at our program. But I just want to let you know that. And so, and she's just really awesome. And our tutor kept her going. Let's see, lastly, our conversation club was a direct request from our WASC advisory council meeting in 2022. We already had it kind of in our mind, wouldn't it be nice to have a conversation club? But when it came from the students, it was like confirmation, we had to get on it. We got 2 facilitators, 2 tutors, and to facilitate that. They do a wonderful job, variety of topics, very everyday, normal, thoughtful conversation, really out of the box thinking. The group was so popular that for the advanced level, that the afternoon classes said, hey, we want a conversation club too. So our tutors have added a second. So they do 2 clubs on Wednesdays. And then just lastly, the college information support, that was 53 student hours. That was the attendance of 53 students. And then in addition, you know, meeting with me, but this is where we had special sessions where we would just, you know, have the information, crack open the Chromebooks and get their applications going. Thank you.
So continuing the presentation of support services to our students at MVLA Adult School, I will introduce our school's technology advocates. So MVLA Adult School is committed to continuing with its previous WASC goal of integrating instructional technology in all classrooms. And the technology advocates at MVLA Adult School provide technology support to its students so they're able to utilize instructional technology in class. So they offer 3 tiers of support, as we can see from this model over here. The first tier of support is this general technical resource website. On this website, we have tutorial videos, instructional guides on how to access different types of instructional technology that we use in the class. If we take a look at this next tier, the small group tier over here, we have targeted workshops for our students. We've had workshops on a lot of topics that is sort of like general demand topics for students that really need the most support with technology. So we've had workshops on basic email support. Our school generates email accounts for all of our students. It's a bit challenging for an adult school because we have thousands of students that come in. They sort of come in at different times. So we create school accounts for all of our students, really thanks to the IT department in this district. So they help them get set up with the email if they're not really familiar with email. We have other workshops on basic internet skills, how to surf the internet, use their Chromebooks in the classroom. So all really good things that have really helped our students. And finally, we have this individual tier support where if students have just really personalized assistance they need, their own special requests, or if maybe a classroom teacher tells the technology advocates, hey, I really have this group of students in my class that need help with using Remind so I can communicate with our students. We have them work with them as well too. So the initiatives for this year, we're really targeting these 4 main areas using Remind, especially in our ESL program. We've been using Remind to give announcements to students, send assignments to some students in some classes as well too, as well as the school email. Ever since I've been on board, we've really set up a strong structured school email system. Also with Zoom. So as mentioned from Gina, we have a lot of students transitioning to community colleges. A lot of the community colleges, especially for English as a second language, are offered through hybrid or distance learning. So knowing how to use Zoom is extremely important for our students. And also they've been helping with some online testing as well too. So next, we would like to present one of our most recent success stories. Yesenia is a student at MVLA Adult School who has transitioned to the GED program after completing all the levels of ESL. So please take a moment to listen to her story.
department is, and now I am going to receive classroom learning. I pick MVLA school because I live in students graduate in Corona English scale and also they have kids their home. My goal is first get my GED and also I want to be a medical assistant.
So as you can see, we are very proud of Yesenia's accomplishments, and we will continue to support Yesenia along her academic journey. So this following slide There we go. There we go. This following slide represents information about MVLA Adult Schools instructional hours over the past 3 years in comparison to the other schools within our regional consortium of North Santa Clara County. So we have our school, Palo Alto Adult School, Fremont Union High School District's Adult School, De Anza College, and Foothill College represented in this chart on the left. The state holds each California adult education program agency accountable by reporting the total number of instructional hours on an annual basis. This is absolutely required for our funding through the California Adult Education Program. As you can see on the table in the bottom left, Mountain View Los Altos Adult Schools instructional hours far exceed the other schools in our regional consortium. So next, Julie will present information about MVLA Adult Schools fiscal solvency.
We are also happy to report that our school remains in overall good financial health. We continue to receive the largest percentage of the overall consortium dedicated funding at 42%. At year end, we maintained a healthy fund balance of just over $106,000 and received over $562,000 in additional income from grants and fees. All adult schools are held financially accountable through the alignment of resource allocation with school and regional consortium plans that must be approved by the state and federal and also certified by our regional consortium. For this current year, we are proud to share some exciting new developments. MVLA Adult School was one of 8 applicants statewide who was awarded $1.9 million through the EDD-ELL Healthcare Pathways Grant. In addition, we were awarded 2 additional grants related to integrated education and training to create healthcare career pathways for English learner advancement. Grant funds will be used to launch our, it's kind of a mouthful, accelerated IET, Healthcare Pathways to Employment and Economic Mobility Plan. That won the $1.9 million, which will continue for the next 36 months. Okay, looking ahead, we are excited to embark on our next 6-year accreditation using excellence, equity, and engagement as our guiding principles. We will continue to reflect on our mission as a school and to look to the new graduate profile to expand our vision for student success in the future. We will continue to align school standards to state and national standards to ensure our students are equipped with the knowledge and skills necessary to achieve their goals. As we look to the future, we will actively use data to assess student learning, monitor progress, inform instruction, and implement new strategies. And we will continue to expand support to students to remove barriers and address learning needs. We've assembled all of these different supports for students. Now we're working on growing their awareness by promoting these resources for them. I believe a benefit of our continuous self-study is the growth in our ability as a school to review and analyze data and to ask good questions. Albert Einstein once said, the important thing is to not stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. By cultivating a school-wide culture of inquiry, we hope to use this data to inform how we can redesign our school structures and processes to promote equity. As educational practitioners, we hope to get better at using data to redesign effective models for teaching and learning. As Indira Gandhi once wrote, the power to question is the basis of all human progress. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge our superintendent, our district leadership, and our board of trustees for making student achievement, engagement, and equity the top priorities in our district. I would also like to personally thank my adult school leadership team, our teachers, and our support staff for contributing to a school culture that values academic excellence, collaboration, equity, and service. And to our adult students, like Ana Mwanga today, who are at the heart of why we do what we do, and your success continues to be the marker of our success. And that concludes our report. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them now.
Well, thank you very much. Is there any questions? Do you have any
I have some, but I don't want to go first.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Catherine.
Okay, and there's just a couple. One, when you mentioned the parents, a couple of students say that they are studying so that they can speak English better for their own benefit, but also so they can help their children. Do we have the resources to perhaps expand training to parents like on our high school sites so that students that wish their parents could speak English or speak it better could come to their own school site?
Do you mean holding off-site ESL classes at the high school site? That is certainly something that we can explore if there's an interest and a need for that.
I was just curious. That might be, and I think that would benefit Alta Vista too, because I mean, if the students could basically prod their own parents to go to their own school, you know, and kind of like that could be kind of a good loop between the student and the parent. I was just curious.
I definitely agree with that. And I believe our Los Altos and Mountain View High School, whenever they have a resource fair, they invite our departments to share our programs.
But that might be a barrier for them to go. Yeah.
Like they're in my class.
Yeah, they are, but I mean, that might be a barrier for them to get over to the adult school, and they might feel more comfortable here if nothing else. Then I'm curious between, you know, we have EL at the comprehensive high schools, and we have ESL there. And you have those standards that the tests that you take for that one.
Yes.
I just wonder how that you know, compares. And also with that, how many of the programs, like you said, some folks were doing scheduling at PAMP and stuff. They must have some sort of English requirement to be at a certain level before they can do that. So which programs do we have in the CTE and this and that you would have to have like a minimal level of English to be in that part or that program?
Great questions. I'm going to have Sarah Krujewski explain all of the ELD, ESL standards so you can have a better understanding.
Okay, so there's a history lesson here. About 10 years ago, you might remember changing to the Common Core standards for K-12.
Yeah.
Okay, so after that, the next step was that the college and career readiness standards, which are quite related to the Common Core standards, were created for adult students. After that, and at that point, it became clear that without some modifications, you couldn't apply a college and career readiness standard that was written for an English speaker to every level of ESL. So then the next step, by now it's been 7 years or something. The next step was the English language proficiency standards were created. And so what that does, and I can send you a link if you'd like to see it. What that does is take a college and career readiness standard and then explain how that might look at each level of English proficiency. So for example, we might have something that says a student will be able to do research and report back. Well, for a literacy student, that might mean that they look at a picture dictionary and use that to help them label a picture. That's research for our level 1 students. On the other hand, for students in my advanced class, their research would be a guided project based on doing internet research, where the guidance might be providing them with a couple of different websites and some kind of chart to fill out the information. So that's taking those college and career readiness standards and spreading them across our 6 levels of English instruction for adult education.
For adult ed.
Yeah.
And I'm still not quite sure how that matches with the EL in.
Okay, so that is, so English
Or
EL
not
at the
match. It
high
doesn't
school.
match, in other
It's
words.
so EL at the high school, it is a different program because,
I get
yeah,
that part, but I'm
it's,
just saying.
it doesn't, it's not exactly the same because, partly because we're talking about adults who, not all of them have completed high school for sure. We certainly send plenty of them to Danielle after they complete the ESL program. But we're talking about students who are bringing quite a lot to the table. They're adults. And so we're working to bring them English as a second language. On the other hand, students in K-12, we're working to get them those K-12 standards, which are a little bit different. They're looking at the Common Core standards. We're looking at the
For
CCRS.
other academic things.
Yes.
And having enough English to be able to meet them. And
Yes.
you're doing it from the other direction.
Yes, we're doing it from the opposite direction. Yes.
Okay, then the other one.
Would you like me to answer the second part
Oh,
of your
yes,
question?
please.
So thank you, Sarah. As you can see, our coordinators and teachers are becoming experts in data and looking at indicators and outcomes for each level. But I do want to reiterate that they are aligned to the state standards for the English language proficiency standards for ESL. And how does that tie into our CTE standards? So for our CTE programs, they do have a minimum English requirement level. For CNA, it's intermediate high to advanced level for adult ESL. For medical assistant, a requirement is to have a high school diploma. And what we've been working on for the last several years is really aligning all of the programs at the adult school for our core academic programs, so that as the students, wherever they start in ESL through those 6 levels, they go on to GED or high school diploma, or they can, go to the path of CTE through CNA. If they've graduated with a GED or high school diploma, they're eligible to attend the higher level programs like the medical assistant national certification programs. But there is a minimum entry level requirement. We do use a standardized adult reading assessment that we use to place them.
So the other question I had is, how do I ask this? Is there any special ed students in your, not at all in the adult school?
Do you mean from the high school or undisclosed cases of learning
You have
disabilities?
dyslexic people, but they wouldn't have
An IEP?
IEP or a 504 or anything like that if they're an adult. But do you have students in these categories that you give supports to so they can be successful, or does it even come up?
It actually does come up, and that's a really good question. I'll start with our district high school students who get referred for independent studies through our Moffitt and concurrent program. If they do have a 504 or IEP, we do receive that, and we honor all of those accommodations that come along with that diagnosis, whether it's a learning disability or an ED. If it's an appropriate placement, we work with the special ed team in those IEP meetings to make recommendations for an appropriate placement for them. If it's an adult student, more often than not, they come in with an undisclosed learning disability. The adult school does not have the resources like a community college would, that has a whole department to put these students through an assessment and to create an IEP for them. But if they come into our system with an IEP, we do honor those accommodations. But that's one of the areas that I would like to do more research and explore, and how can we better serve these students, because there is definitely a need there. And a lot of times these students can't advocate for themselves, or they don't know how the system works. As you could see today with some of the student profiles that we shared with you, these students not only come to this country with language barriers, but also cultural barriers. They're trying to navigate the American school system. And so that's where a lot of our support comes in at the adult school.
We also have students that will be meeting me and we'll be helping her to apply to the DOR. So
Department of Rehab.
Rehabilitation. She is on the scooter. She has no professional work experience. And also she has a lot of naivete, for lack of experience, on what it means to be working and as an immigrant. And so it's I'm very excited to see what will come because she's really bright and she's like, but you're right. So she does need that extra hand holding. We do have, when the need comes up, we do take care of them. We have a student who is visually impaired. And a lot of attention as well.
It's just an expensive date, in other words, to provide those kind of, all these kind of resources in addition to your mission of the actual academics.
We are very resourceful. We employ volunteers, tutors, which Gina helps to recruit and prepares them all to be in tutoring. Our visually impaired student has a one-on-one tutor and aide that works with him every day.
I don't want to hog the questions, but one last thing is then the same applies for mental health support. There's disabilities, but then there's an immigrant that just gets here from, in the middle of Silicon Valley,
Ukraine,
and is an immigrant and doesn't understand the system and everything, must be stressed too. At least I would think they might be.
So we do.
I don't know how you handle that. We have the whole system in place, the comprehensive high schools and stuff. But
so we rely a lot on community partnerships for that. We work with the county through CalWorks that can refer them to counseling services. There's a whole directory of resources. We reach out to various organizations, including Community Services Agency, CHAC, and there's another one.
And they qualify for CHAC too.
Yes.
Anyway, I was just comparing as I was reading these things and stuff between comprehensive and the adult. And I know you operate a lot differently, but there's some needs that are true in both places. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so Phil, did you have a question? Oh, okay. David, did you have
Yes, I did. I had a couple questions and a comment. My first comment is thank you for putting notes about most of the data, which answered most of my questions. You have overall really good pass rates. I'm just curious about the medical assistant pass rates, which are a bit lower than your other CTE pass rates. How many students take the MA exam each academic year?
I would say an average of 60 to 80 students take the national medical exam every year. And I do want to clarify that every year prior to the year that we just reported on, we've achieved 90 to 100% pass rate. That's more typical for us. This year, the NCCT changed their exam, and so we need to adjust our curriculum and instruction. One of the things that Francisco didn't have a chance to expand upon is that we are looking at the old exam and the new national exam to see where we need to better prepare our students.
And then the other question I had was, you report the number of students who report getting a job, which is required by law. But I was also curious about the percentage of students. So if next year you could come back and let us know the percentage of students that is, I'm sure it's high because the numbers were high, but I'd just be curious to know that. And then I just had a few comments. I was particularly impressed with you being one of 8 schools in California to get a grant. That's a lot. How much you outperform other schools in the number of instructional hours. And as I mentioned, your overall pass rates. And also I wanted to say that you gave me a tour last year and I saw a huge diversity of students in a warm and welcoming environment. And I also attended the May graduation, and the student speakers had such moving speeches. So you're not only performing well in the data, but I also saw the students and how well they love the school. I could see that in your student of the year. So you are already, I feel, meeting a lot of the graduate profile, and I'm so impressed with the adult school.
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, and letting us know while my leadership team is here. They really need to know that. Thank you.
No questions. Actually, they asked the little question I had, but just want to thank you for the very thorough report out, both what you sent beforehand and as you walked us through everything. And also just want to comment that a lot of the services and programs you're offering, I think, are very life-changing for the students who are in attendance, and it's so diverse also, which also speaks to the need to kind of have your attention across many different student needs and community. And I was just really impressed by the pass rates also just for CNA and medical assistant, and really happy that we're offering those 1 to 2 year pathways, because I think they're really popular among the communities that we're serving. So.
And the other thing we didn't mention is our CNA pathways. Those classes and our medical term are articulated with the community colleges, Mission College in particular, where they can, if they apply for a scholarship, perhaps through Mountain View Rotary, they would qualify for to continue a degree in nursing.
That's really great to hear, and that I think reinforces it's not always an either or, it can be an and, right? You can always continue education. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for a very detailed and thorough review of the adult school. Appreciate it very much. Just very proud of the school in our community. I think with your stewardship, it reaches new heights every year. Very, very proud of you and your whole staff. So thank you very much. Grateful from all of us about how well it's going. So thank you.
Life changing is definitely, I would agree with Esme. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's, we don't want it to be a well-kept secret, but it's one of the just fantastic gem in the middle of us.
Well, we can't wait to report next year when we can talk about all of our new plans with the integrated education training. So thank you for your time.
Next, I just want to let the student board members, we're going to go on this. The next one may be a little long as well. So if you wanted to leave, you're free to go if you need to go. You don't need to stay. It's up to you. Two of you. Okay, no problem. No problem. All right. So next is the annual review for Alta Vista High School.
Okay, great.
Why you have to go in front of me? That's so good. I know. I'm just kidding. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I wanted to start with the thank yous. I think that's important. Every month in the last 2 years, when we have our board meetings, Dr. Meyer, how you highlight Alta Vista High School and all of our alternative programs, and the detail to which you all, as our board members, are aware of what we're doing, part of what we're trying to do and change and think outside the box and move forward to support students. I so appreciate. I also wanted to say thank you to a few people that helped in this report. Amy Vargas helps me in getting my report together, and I very much appreciate that. And then Wendy Dowling helps with our data and just general, my own wellness. So that's always wonderful. And then always thank you to Terry, who helps me with many questions along the way. So welcome to Alta Vista High School. We're going to talk a little bit tonight, but that said, again, you've all been so familiar with the details and helping me celebrate as we try new things and supporting that and letting me take risks with my staff and being part of that. I'm so appreciative. Before we go into Alta Vista, I just wanted to give a brief reminder that we do have 5 alternative programs. So Alta Vista is our school, our high school alternative program or continuation high school. But we will also be hearing from College Now and Middle College at our next board meeting. So that'll be good. And then I imagine, you might not think of it, but our summer school is an alternative program, very important alternative program. We'll probably talk a little bit about it in, I imagine, June. And then we will hear in May, at least for freestyle, having to do with their student of the year, student of the month. So I just want to point those out. All right, so let's move into talking about Alta Vista. So this is what I wanted to focus on in both our visuals and our conversation this evening. So we're going to be focusing on engagement and the different things that means for us at Alta Vista High School and our college and career preparation, which is something that is big for us. And it might feel newer for us, even though the workings have been there for years. Right now, we're moving from adult ed, a school of 5,000, Julie? About closer to 6,000, okay. And we right now are what will be for Alta Vista based on a 20-to-1, which is the cap for a continuation high school classroom, 20 students. And we're right at 90 students, which is beautiful. It feels big for us, even though it doesn't quite feel like 6,000. We have 6 teachers, which is about the amount of staff that Julie had up for her presentation. And we have 2 instructional assistants, 1 office staff, and we have 1 community resource coordinator and 1 principal. And we're all so proud to be there. Engagement, we're going to talk about community and belonging. And these are common themes for us. We talk about this in our meetings together as a staff continually in this framework. We talk about attendance as part of engagement. And then I really want to focus in for where we're moving forward and what we've been changing in the last even 2 years around college and career preparation. Okay, so here's the fun part. All of it's fun, but this part I love so much. In community and belonging, I know you're aware, but a big thing that we want to do is give positive, authentic reason for being in your classes, earning your partial or your full credits, your points, as we call them, as you are getting to know one another, and also doing things you love. So we have 20 plus games throughout the year across sports, volleyball, flag football, basketball, softball, and we've even added a soccer tournament this year. And we're currently in a league of 6 continuation alternative or core community schools, and that'll be growing to 7, possibly 8 next year and into this spring. So that is exciting for us. These are just a few pictures that go from 22, 23, having to do with football, basketball, and then we also love our spring. I'd love for you to come out when we have the date selected, but this was the Mountain View Police Department playing with us for softball, which was so much fun, and they may or may not have brought food for the whole school. So that was, you're invited. It was tasty. Also, we had, of course, example of volleyball. We had flag football. And then I know you're going to know these colors are not Aztec. They are Spartan. And we are very thankful to Mountain View for allowing us some home games, which we had never had before for volleyball, for basketball. And the kids have really enjoyed that. So thank you to Mountain View. All right, other ways that we connect with our students has a lot of meaning behind it. I'm not going to focus a whole lot, but things that you think about: Halloween, Thanksgiving, a winter break. These are all things that bring a lot of anxiety for some students. They may have insecure home or background situations. They all come with food celebrations, coming together in pictures and events and games and pumpkin carving, all of these things. To make sure that if it might not be happening at home, it's happening at school. And here's just a couple examples from holidays, doing some card making for senior citizen homes, and lots of dress up days. It's so much fun. I love this part. So that's the community building that you see. Also, here's some pictures you might recognize, but these are more having to do with, we have a culinary class So they had a barbecue for the school. It was phenomenal. They made it for the classes, but they brought some to share. For fall semester, we had volunteers coming for a Christian club called Vox Gen Club that met at lunch. And then right now we have leadership trying hard. We are trying hard. We love leadership in ASB. We offer ASB credits, but it's only at lunch. And I've got to say, we have 3 ASB teachers on Alta Vista campus, Lonnie Stevens, Bonnie Mahalik, and me. But we have 0 sections of ASB. So we have been kind of limping along. Limping myself without a section, but this is something that would just grow exponentially if we did add that elective of an ASB leadership course so that the students can really meet on a daily basis. In addition to the pictures you see here, we may have talked about, but this year so far, we have had speakers also come on campus to bring our community together. One was English classes across the school, reading Always Running by author Luis Rodriguez. And thank you to the MVLA Foundation for funding his speaking visit to our campus in the fall semester. And then coming up April 5th, Oscar Garcia, who is also a speaker, he's going to be coming, speaking and empowering first generation and at-promise students for career readiness. And so we're really excited for that to be happening for us. We've talked about mentor-tutor connection before, but it is such a robust program at Alta Vista High School, even open to our students in room 4 at many of our brunches and lunches weekly. And that is, we're very thankful for Gina Estrada, who volunteers as our coordinator and connects nearly all of our students that want a mentor, and she convinces them that they want a mentor with mentor tutor connection. And if they don't have a mentor that they meet off site twice a month at least, and they also earn credits for that, they're in there doing card making, arts and crafts. We're doing care kit creation Wednesday after school during our optional 6th period, and all are invited, plus they get to take a care kit home, which is important. So that's just one example of many. So when we talk about community and belonging more in a numbers sense, we do annual surveys of our students, and one of them over time, you'll see that students agree. So for January 2024, 93% said they feel safe at Alta Vista High School and in our community. And part of this also had to do with some things we were just coming off of break and things happening in the community that are outside of our control that very much affected Alta Vista High School. So part of the power and a strong staff and a strong community is helping you feel safe no matter what your situation is outside of school. And I believe our teachers do an incredible job of that. And do they like Alta Vista High School? Remember, many have been involuntarily transferred. And we like to say by day 3, they're on board. So 95% saying they like Alta Vista High School. And then we've had regular data of every year, 80% of students state they enjoy coming to Alta Vista compared to their prior high school experience. That's not speaking particular to Palo Alto or Gunn or Mountain View or Los Altos, just that it fits them better. In fact, 83% believe their strengths and efforts are recognized, perhaps for the first time, by being a student at Alta Vista High School. All right, I love this data. It is hard fought attendance data for us. So there's lots of things that have gone into our attendance rates. But what you will see in 2023-24 and 2022-23, I think these are really where we put in a lot of different efforts that we could go more into detail, but they do have a lot to do with outreach of family and student and meeting needs that might be blocking students, whether it has to do with transportation or visiting at home or referral services for families to deal with trauma or other situations, or helping connect with basic needs services. It could also have to do with that we have multilingual texting home, and thank you for Language Line. We absolutely love it for on-the-spot interpretation, that if it's not Spanish and Alba and I can't do it, then we can help a family in the moment. And we've done so multiple times with Turkish, with Mandarin, and also with a few other languages. Love it. So I could go in detail, but we're very proud of this data that for us in a continuation high school, you have to keep in mind, these are students that may have had 20 to 30% attendance. And we're getting them on board with even believing in a system that our system can serve them and to keep coming back.
So this data stands out quite a bit. I mean, what stands out to me the most is obviously from 2020 to 2021 school year.
Right. So what's interesting is you're seeing our current, in some ways, what you saw in 2020, you had who are our seniors right now? Right now we're in the throes of, oh, COVID's coming, right? So we're right in that moment where our current seniors, their lives changed forever, and the ones that are Alta Vista, so that was their freshman year. So it's interesting that that's what we're tracking here, and you're seeing this improvement. But at the same time, our current seniors were deficient an average of 128 credits this last August. And that is our challenge and our goal to help as many of them graduate as possible while authentically learning real material and not just getting the credits. So it's been a long road for all of our schools. I think we've seen it since 2020. Some of the
We don't have data pre-COVID.
we do. Oh, do we? We do. We could share. I think it would look very similar to the 70 to 65% data. And then sometimes you get into the post-honeymoon phase slumps. Are people still calling? Are people still texting? Do they care? All of those things. Are they noticing that I'm gone? Right? Because to keep them coming back month after month is we got to be in it together, and that comes to community building.
Do you have some classes they tend to attend more than others, or certain?
It's called not first period. Yeah. And I think that might be similar. I think it's time of day, and it's also careful placement of what we put. So there's certain classes like sports PE. If we had ASB leadership, they would come for that, hands down. They love career explorations. And it could depend perhaps on teachers, right? Or I'm trying to avoid my English essay. But no, I think it has more to do with the time of day and what time they have to get on the bus to get to us in some ways. So we try all the incentives we possibly can, positive behavior interventions and incentives. These are some examples of reward trips. I did not create this Alta Vista dollar with my face. You need to know it's co-student run and organized. We have Alta stores every Thursday after school. They get dollars for being engaged in class and not having their phones out. So those are just a few examples. And we do recognition calls home, Friday announcements, recognizing particular students and improved attendance, all of the things.
People can say their own dollar bill. So.
I know. Like, guys, I think you need to modify a little bit more in your design. I think we're counterfeiting here. No, just like I tell them, we don't do raffles, we do opportunities.
Quick question on the attendance. Do you notice a difference, Suzanne, between the students who are coming from Gunn, Palo Alto? I'm thinking of the distance, and the students who live within our boundaries.
That's an interesting
Or
question.
So I look at them all the same.
There's been a couple of cases. So if we talk about Palo Alto Unified, Mike and I have been talking about this with Terry. So some of my students come in a package deal of transportation per their IEPs. There's also been students in the past. So my own children, I live in East Palo Alto, and there's been my kids in the Palo Alto Unified until high school. Don't worry. They're coming here. But there's a particular, it's a VTP, it's a desegregation transportation clause that we've gone around and worked with that a little bit. But I have seen students that there's more a case of having to get on two buses, whether it's from Los Altos or it is from Palo Alto Gun, and or shared home, so two home situations, so they can always report they live in Palo Alto, but I have kids coming from San Jose, and so if you leave by the 7:05 bus, you can't get here until like 9:50. I can tell you. Yeah, so I see those circumstances. All right. So more data to look at having to do with engagement. So I tried to find the tiniest font possible. I am so sorry. No. So we know this, our juniors take tests in English language arts and math. And we will see what we have here is Alta Vista High School compared to our neighboring continuation high schools. And this was similar last year compared to the same schools. So for example, where we see in English language arts, again, this was our juniors. These were our juniors that, if you recall, their freshman year in March, they said goodbye and largely disengaged, and then never really re-engaged. And that is why, in part, they came to us at Alta Vista High School. So 20% met standard for English language arts for junior level. You do need to realize, if we look at the reading levels, we're hovering right in between 4th grade to 7th grade for the majority. And so compared to our Alta Vista counterparts, our other continuation schools, that would have been 7% with a larger statistical base. They're larger continuation schools of juniors testing. Now with math, small sample, and this is in part, this was lower than our prior year of students. It has in part to do with the cohort. There's fewer students being tested, but also you saw math lower at all of our continuation schools in the area. They're not meeting the standards. And it's actually a pretty simple answer, is last year's juniors were largely enrolled in Algebra 1. And if not Algebra 1, maybe we're starting geometry. So in the same year they come to us, they're taking a test expecting Algebra 2 knowledge. It's not that we can't get there, it's when they're being tested. Right. So I just want to be transparent with this. And also, while we are trying to work on this, our real goal for reading level, for comprehension, for just buying into education again, for math, is that they're accelerating the rate they improve. And it might not end with Algebra 2, but we absolutely share a goal of wanting as many students as possible to be on that college prep track, or being able to get as close as possible to realizing they want to go to community college, or they want to try to apply to a CSU. All right, so graduation rates. I love this data. So this time last year, I came to you and I said, okay, guys, get ready, because we're not going to have the AB 104 credit reduction in the same way. Be prepared, we might have a lower grad rate. Well, we worked really hard, and there are great things happening for our graduation rate for 22-23. So right here. Yay, very much yay. So we had 38 seniors, and then one student that was invited back to us this year was per an IEP. And so when you look at not counting a special education student because they're IEP as a dropout, they weren't a non-grad, right? Then that raises our grad rate to 92%, which is, we're very, very proud of that. And I'll say the students that were referred to adult education, 2 of them we fought hard for and with and supported through most of the year. We truly wanted them to transition to adult ed, giving them the best shot before just letting them loose and saying, figure it out, right? So I'm excited about this. I'm a little worried about our seniors this year, but maybe I'm going to say that every year. We'll see. Questions about grad rates? All right. We can always come back. So every year, this is what's working out, is that we do Foothill College tour with all of our seniors. And we try to, before that, have, this year was San Jose State, last year was San Francisco State, as well as San Jose State, but have the state school prior, so that they realize the increased relevance of Foothill, realizing that it's not just a pathway for a 2-year education, but also on their way to a 4-year university. And there's no charge to students. Of course, we do these field trips. We convince them to go, and they love it. It opens their eyes. All right. I'd like to move from our engagement to college and career preparation, because I think this takes us from where we have been in 22-23 and moving forward to something I'm pretty excited about. Okay, so college career preparation, this is where we are right now, that you might not be aware at Alta Vista High School, but we are so proud. And some of these things have been going on for years with your support, and others are new within the last 2. So we currently have 18 A to G, so UCCSU college prep approved courses taught on campus. So that doesn't mean I hook you up to a computer and you and the online program are having an interaction and hoping to pass that class. This is in person in our classes. Our classes are differentiated so that you can be taking CP or non-CP if you really need it, but we want to guide more and more students per our district goals to see what they can achieve and see what they might be interested in. Extensive online honors and AP and extensive elective and career prep options online are also happening, and we love that.
The online ones, are they through
Edgenuity is one, as well as Acellus. So we have extended offerings there. The advisors counsel students through about what they might need and what's right for them. And then we typically don't let them loose to do it on their own. We're still helping them, but it's an online accredited class. Very popular would be languages, which we don't offer at our school. And we definitely want to make sure many of our students have background language experience that we want to reward them for and make sure it's CP credits, Spanish 2, Spanish 3, Portuguese. We've had students take Japanese. We've had students take, was there Italian? German. So that's exciting. I just had a student last week complete AP psychology. He's texting me about what he finds interesting and taking screenshots. Like, I love it. We've had AP art, lots of options, getting into the sciences also, but that needs to be with our help. We have one student taking physics right now that he gets help during one of his classes and after school. We have 10,000.
Sorry, I have a question about the AP classes.
Mm-hmm.
So would it make sense to try to work with Mountain View High School since they're right next door to get in-seat AP classes, or does that not work with your more one-on-one model?
Mountain View has been pretty amazing for us, and it could very well extend to AP.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So currently we have Avid and architectural design, and we've had choir, we've had band, ceramics just in the last 2 years, branching over with Mountain View with electives we can't offer, but that's a great idea. Students that would know from the start of the year. Sometimes our students figure it out mid-year that they want to take an AP. And then what happens is, for example, I'll have a student taking AP physics and we make sure it's fully funded. And then Mountain View has been amazing to host the few students we might have.
So I guess, yeah, that
test.
makes sense. If they decide in the middle of the year, then they have to take an online class because an in-seat class at Mountain View, they're already way ahead, right? Okay.
Typically.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you pick that other one? Not Edgenuity, the other one.
Oh, Acellus. So they just have different formats for if you wanted to. I'd be happy to show you sample. So Acellus just has a different format of video and demo and smaller check-ins in between versus taking you through all different types of formats of how you learn it and find the document here and find the primary source there. So there's more of a structured routine of how the material is delivered and how you are asked to write about it or test about it. Mm-hmm. Good question. Okay, so where we currently are, 10,000 plus instructional minutes beyond the minimum for continuation high school. So our students are really benefiting from the time that they get with their teachers. And then we have 14 hours annually of professional development that's specific to continuation high school and at promise student population, which is really hard to find. And we do that primarily in April. We also had, per our WASC goals, wanted to know about how to motivate our students in their education. We had Dr. Robin Love, who is a San Jose State now retired teacher. She's been working with us throughout the year on motivational theory in education. And it was pretty fascinating. We did enjoy, and we've been learning with her in 2 different PD days. Also, she has observed all of our classes and talked to our teachers individually to get to know us for specific scenarios and problem solving with us. We've really enjoyed that. All right. And we have college and career coordinator part-time. So that has been a huge growth and strength, and she helps us in many different ways. All right. So where we'd like to move forward is something we've been thinking about, hoping for, and wanting to move toward for the past 18 months. We've been thinking on this. And so the next 4 slides try to capture where Alta Vista High School hopes to move forward to support our students to be seen in the community and in particular by colleges as a true college prepared student. And the idea we could say simply would be having a program within Alta as a school that denotes simply by being in that program that you're there voluntarily and you're there ready to go directly to a four-year, or at least apply to a four-year college or university. So while this could change, and this is a brainstorming idea that our staff has put together, we would love to take our next step being an alternative program of choice that is part of Alta Vista High School. So structurally, financially, it doesn't add things to us, but it really allows our students to be portrayed in their student profile to colleges and so on as a special program of students that had particular goals. So I've been branding this as Vista College and Career Prep, but that could be any which name of a program within Alta Vista High School that is a personalized high school experience characterized by academic rigor and career preparation. So what does that mean? Well, a Vista Prep student would be on track for graduation or early graduation. That is clear defining characteristics of this vision. They apply and enroll voluntarily. They've completed a minimum of one semester Alta Vista High School prior to acceptance. So whether they were transferred involuntarily or came voluntarily prior, they know the system and the structure, and now they've chosen to continue on with Alta Vista High School in a particular program of choice. They'd be enrolled in college prep coursework across their subjects. By senior year, they're bound for four-year college, directly or as a community college transfer, which for us is of equal value and importance. And they're likely participating in career training. For example, that could be, it looks more and more like a health careers focus, but there are other areas we can explore. So like I said, over the last 18 months, this is an idea we've been fleshing out, and initially started in conversation with Nellie, but hey, what about this, right? And then Terry's been very helpful as well. I've also met with a WASC representative, and then over last summer planning with two representatives from California Department of Ed, just asking, how could we do this? Like, we want this idea, how can we move forward? And one representative was from Alternative Schools of Choice Office, and another from CDE from Educational Options Office, who gave me lots of great advice. But Vista Prep, what would it really do? It creates a structure for voluntary enrollment for on-track and or advanced students to kind of try to take that feeling away of, oh, I'm caught up or I'm college bound. That means I have to go back. Los Altos and Mountain View are beautiful schools. They're wonderful. But for some students, what I hear them repeatedly say is, if I want to be taken seriously by a college, I love it here and this is what works for me, but I got to go back there, right? Because that's what's going to be seen as a legitimate college prep school. But I believe Alta Vista could be both. Vista Prep would create a small personalized high school experience. It would create academic distinction for a small number of students that choose to stay at Alta Vista while applying to four-year colleges and or graduate early, which is a huge growing incentive for students. They want to come to Alta to be able to graduate early. And then just advancement and recognition within Alta Vista High School, a sense of accomplishment that doesn't mean that I have to leave the environment that is working for me to show that I've made it, if that makes sense. And what would change structurally? Honestly, not a ton. We'd continue to increase in-seat college prep course offerings. We would reformat transcript notation. And I use the example in analyzing our Foothill Middle College transcripts. This was an idea that popped up. So for example, Foothill Middle College students, they are, well, currently they're Gun, Palo Alto, Los Altos, or Mountain View students. And you see that in the transcript semester by semester notation, but in the top right of their transcript where it says Foothill Middle College Program, it specifies this, similar to the idea of an alternative program of choice to show that you a little bit different of a distinction for us, for our students. And then we continue to grow CTE pathways and adult ed collaborations. And this part's really important to me. This came from experience in prior district and life, being more closely involved with scheduling and an administrator in charge of college and career and the counseling department, that there'd be a school profile creation for four-year colleges, right? So a Vista Prep school profile. And that's what colleges and universities use to know what is the school about, and that it could be particular for students that are wanting to apply to a four-year university. There's no shame in a continuation school, but it could truly serve all people. And this is, whether it looks like this or some variation of, it's exciting to plan with staff where we could be headed. All right, so thank you.
So, board, do you have any questions? Catherine?
Of course I do. The graduation profile, do you have that up and about?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Pushing that one.
Yes, thank you, Catherine. So in the early fall, Michelle Bissonette and well, group-wise had asked, let's run the earlier drafts by your staff. So that was at a whole staff meeting. That was our first exposure as a staff. We looked through point by point and made suggestions and said how it could work for us and edits and so on. And then most recently in its final version, what we've done was a really good, like a useful exercise actually. It's up in classrooms and it's up in our MPR, multi-purpose room. But more importantly, what we did as a whole staff was we placed the graduate student profile alongside our Alta Vista, what I call our cornerstones, but our outcomes for learners. And we compared point by point, where do they match, where do they don't, where do they do not, and then are there suggestions coming out of graduate profile that might work for we have our 3-year WASC visit or check-in coming up. So we're in this process for our March PD and so on of working on WASC. And so we're looking at how might we modify they're very closely aligned, but how might we modify what our student learner outcomes are based on the graduate student profile. And I need glasses, but I mean, there was so much overlap. There were just a few pieces that teachers thought we could have. I think it had to do with the contribute the bottom left portion. But we have, as far as the students teaching and advisor, they've seen it, but we haven't had a specific lesson in our advisory period with students quite yet.
Anybody else?
Yes, I had a couple of questions. First of all, what would it take for Alta Vista to add an ASB section? It sounds like it's
just a section.
Yeah. Okay. So what would it take? Is that something you're going to come back and just tell us you did next year because you're amazing, or do you need support from us?
Oh, I think it's just, we haven't yet talked about staffing.
Okay.
Thank you for asking that.
Okay. And then I guess I support your Vista Prep or whatever you want to call it. But I think from a sort of person on the street perspective, you know, a parent, I guess how would Vista Prep attract different students from middle college, which is sort of a similar program? And also, would you be attracting more students, or would they be the same students? So that's sort of my combined question.
Good question and a good point. So I thought about that and thinking about all the hats of alternative program. So really good question. One of the largest difference between, for example, middle college student and a student at Alta Vista would be, are they ready for college courses in the moment or in the future? So for us, by having a student say you must have been enrolled at Alta Vista High School a semester before being considered for, if we have an alternative program of choice, is important, because I think it would take away anybody thinking of like a shortcut or a way to get around like these are still students that needed Alta Vista High School to help them for their smaller learning community, for their attendance, for their habits, but then realized, oh, now I realize I can have these goals. For a middle college student, I think while they do need support from their teacher, advisor, counselors, right? They have English and history within the high school, but they're ready to take college classes right now. So I think they could very much and would attract different population. I think really what an alternative program of choice would do would be current Alta Vista students, as they're funneling through now, as they're realizing they need us, helping them stay if they need to. Last January, we transferred 8 seniors to their home campuses because they wanted to, and 6 of them came back to us. And had they known maybe that there had been a little bit more distinction or something, that there could have been a next step aside from saying, oh, my next step is I succeeded, so I got to transfer back. I think that could have changed perception and avoided a disruption in their spring education as they realized they wanted to come back.
Okay, that's very helpful to me. Also, do you have room to grow just in adding number of students? Because one of my thoughts is a continuation high school is students are at risk for not graduating, and some students come in at lower grades and it's clear they're already at risk. Because I mean, if you haven't taken Algebra 1 by 9th grade, right, and you don't have the GPA, chances are you're not going to graduate. And also our A through G requirements. I mean, I think it's something. It's an and, right? Our comprehensive high schools are working on increasing our A through G rates, but for some students, they need that small environment because they just don't have the habits, as you said. They don't have the skills to navigate a large high school, and they need that small 20-to-1 support to actually graduate with A through G, which is my hope for every student.
It's a complex question. So the first is, do we have the capacity if our population were to grow? Facility-wise, we absolutely do. If we look at current staffing, if students are to have the teachers of credential, so in a continuation high school or, for example, summer school, continuation high school, alternative programs, you can have a teacher outside of your credential teach you, for example, history. But if we do best practice and stick with teachers in the credential teaching to our students, for example, that puts us right at 100. If I don't allow students to double dip, I have many seniors that need US history and civics econ, for example. But if every student had 1 period of history, I have 1 full-time history teacher, right? But there's flexibility in staffing, and there's things that, right, they work with us each year to figure out what we need. So where we're right now, if we had the same amount of staffing, the 100 students looks to us like, wow, we're full on campus.
Okay, thank you.
Do you happen to know how big it was at the max ever?
I want to say there's a time of it was 120 plus. Wendy, historian?
Way back.
Yeah, I want to say
and that was a little bit too much.
Yeah. So in the early 2000s, where it had been, if your attendance hits this, you go there. And then I think up through 2006, 8, that's when you saw higher numbers, and you would see for example, Alicia Triana used to be a second English teacher. She's now at middle college. She was at Alta Vista, a teacher at the same, so 2 English teachers, for example. But the staffing changes. The facility is there, the space is there, it's beautiful. It would just be staffing.
Okay, thank you.
I have just one. I really like the idea, your proposal here, and it answered my question, sort of around like what is Alta Vista doing around talking about post-secondary pathways and education. And I think this is like one strategy. We don't need to get into the specifics right now around
the multitude of pathways and how we're talking to students about them. But one thing just to note that I think will be really important, I appreciated kind of naming whether students go directly to a four-year college or community college and then transfer. And I think one thing that in general we need to do a really good job at is helping students plan for that while we still have them engaged. Because there's not a lot of, I think our community colleges are inundated with trying to provide some of that counseling and service. And I think we're uniquely positioned to be able to do some of that, you know, planning with students at the senior year or, you know, in their final years with us in high school. And so I think if we really want to set up students for success, doing a lot of that as part of this program or just more generally at Alta Vista, since it's a smaller community and you're well positioned probably to do it.
It's that you brought that up. It also came up in our staff meeting today of Lisa Falsetti, our college career coordinator, was giving an example of our students graduate throughout the year, for example. And if we don't have them immediately, so we've been working with TOP program and so trades, whether it be trades or whether it be to the community college, making sure that they are already registered for, applied for, maybe even selected for.
Orientation.
So actually all of our seniors complete their first Foothill course with us in April annually. And that's been a long-standing.
That's a really good idea because then you get through like, you know, you've applied already, you're a student, you have your ID.
Yes.
Right? And so
you have your first credits, and it's the intro counseling course.
Yeah. When I saw the event that you said is coming up. So it's great. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
That's another gem in our crown.
Yeah.
She's off to this stuff.
Okay, next 18.3, the California School Board Association Delegate Assembly nominations. So we got a list, so we can vote up to 4. There are 5 candidates. I don't know if you can show them up on the screen here. There they are. If you click on the, you know, the square with the arrows up and down, if you click on that twice, it'll expand the whole screen. See that right there? Yep, right there. Click on it twice. Yep. Oop. There you go. Now you can scroll down. There you go. Okay.
I want to say that I know 4 of those people really quite well because I've been hanging around with them in CSBA for 5 years now. Judy, Carol, Shelley, and Jessica, and of course Jessica and Shelley are right next door at Los Altos. But I was also very, very impressed in reading Isabel's. And did she send you all a personal email?
She did.
She's the only one that sent a separate one.
I thought she was impressive too.
I thought she was very impressive.
And the fact that she went out of her way to give us her background to let us know who we are, because I'm sure.
I was very.
So that's who, in other words, who do we
I would select, from that, I would say, because I do know Michelle and Jessica, but I think Isabel is definitely very impressive with her background and what she is. So I think she's one person but I would defer to the others for the other 3 that if you have a strong preference.
I don't have a strong preference, but obviously we know the people from Los Santos, right? They're our partner district. But I also know Jody Muirhead. She's been quite active. But I think what's impressive about her, just personally, is you know, I've been involved in education for a long time, and long before I became a trustee, she was talking to me and other people in Mountain View because I think that's how you learn as a trustee, by talking to people and finding out what people do in other communities. So that's always impressed me about her.
Well, and then
I know that's true of Jessica and Michelle as well.
Yeah. Now the thing is, should we have to? I mean, should we spread the wealth more and not have 2 from Los Altos? You know. On the other hand, should we give chance to people that haven't been on it before and not vote for the incumbents? So I mean, there's so many different ways you could slice this if you need to eliminate one of them.
Oh, we don't have, and also we don't have to vote for four. We can have
That's
up
true.
to four, right? So
We could
that's
just,
also that's the game.
That's true.
it. What I gather is that we all are positive about Isabel. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the
let's vote
Yeah.
for her for sure.
feedback I'm getting, right? Is
Yeah.
that true? So the question is there some, are there, what the other ones, I don't know, Dita, you mentioned Jody. And I don't know if you feel strong about her relative to the other stronger.
Well, it's hard for me to, I mean, I think we should vote for someone from our partner district. And because, I mean, I think it's important to have our partner district represented. But, and then I hate to like pick between Vishali and Jessica publicly, especially. So that's kind of a difficult choice. I actually don't know Carol. I think it's because she's further away than Jody. I don't know.
Actually, it's not very much further than
I'm just saying my
yeah.
personal experience. I mean, I can only speak for myself. It's a group vote, so.
I would probably then go with Isabel, Jody, Shelley, and Jessica. Given
So is someone
that,
making a motion?
I move that we vote for those four that I just said.
Isabel, Jody, Rashali, and Jessica.
Mhm.
I will second that.
So moved by Catherine, seconded by Esme for Isabel, Jody, Vishali, and Jessica as our four candidates for the delegate assembly. Okay.
Okay, got it.
You got it.
Don't we have to vote?
Huh? So we have to vote, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so those are the four. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and the motion passes 5-0. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Amy. All right. That gets us to board operation. 4 suggestions for future board reports and meetings. Any suggestions for future meetings? I think there's
We have
already
some in the pipeline.
I think there's
We have
stuff
some in the
There's stuff in
pipeline.
the pipeline already, right? So I think we
Yeah.
have a few already there.
Yeah.
Okay, so communications correspondence.
None at this time.
Okay, great. Date, time, and place of next meeting. I believe it's March 18th is the next meeting. So with that, I'd like to announce that I'm going to be traveling that week. Actually, I'm going to be in Taiwan. So Esme, I'm going to look for you to lead that meeting. If there's any chance I could dial in, I will. I'll let you know if I can, but most likely not. But I'll let you know. Okay. All right. So with that, I think we're going to go back to our closed session, and then I will report back after that, and we'll come back here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you to all of you that aren't going to stay to find out the final answer after closed session. Sorry. You need to lean on your phone. Retrieve this amount from under there. Gotta find my other paper. So where to go? Hang up that.
Okay, what's on the line?
Yeah, again.
I got it, and it was half-baked.
You know what, it even said that on the box, it said
these resolutions. You don't have to list every single one, you can probably just say, but I do agree with more. So I'm saying,
Okay, yep. Okay, so we'll come back to attention. We'll bring to the regular school board meeting. We just came out of closed session. And on the item that we pulled from consolidated earlier, item 16.2 personnel report, we're going to report out that we have, I guess we'd like to see if there is a motion to approve items of resolution 2324-31 through 2324-44.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
so, moved by Catherine, seconded by Theta. All those in favor?
Aye.
The vote passes 5-0.
And also request that we officially approve the entirety of the personnel report.
Yes, so can we have a motion to approve the entirety?
I move that we approve the entirety of the personnel report.
16.2.
16.2.
Okay. Moved by Catherine, seconded by Phil to approve the entirety of the personnel report 16.2. All those in favor?
Aye.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, now can I move to adjourn?
Can we have a motion? Can we have a motion to adjourn? Absolutely, Catherine, go ahead.
I move to adjourn.
Great, thank you, Catherine. Seconded by
Esme beat you to
motion
it.
by Catherine, second by Esme. All those in favor?
Okay, fun night.
99, y'all.
Goodbye.
Sweet dreams.
Oh, my vote? Yes, I just read that online.
In fashion, wearing long clothes with long hair.
Oh, well, thank you. There you are. There I am. See you soon.
One more.